Welcome to Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast. Our podcast showcases inspiring appraisers and professionals from the industry who are leaders in their field. How did they get to where they are? What have they learned along the way? What can we learn from them? Your host is real estate investor, entrepreneur, and appraiser, Michael Hobbs.
So good to have you joining us for another informative, exciting, and engaging episode of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Michael Hobbs, and excited to bring you a perspective of another peer. Wonderful thing we get to do for many seasons now. And thanks for all your wonderful feedback. Thanks for the suggestions for topics and other peers to join as guests. But more importantly, thanks for doing what only you can do, and that is hit that subscribe button. Your generous action sends the message out to the networks and allows more and more people. Just talked to Kenny earlier this week. I didn't even know you existed. I'm like, why would you? I'm like, you and I have never connected. He's like, no, man, but the podcast is great. I get on some of these long drives, get to listen to some perspectives and some experiences like I knew nothing about. And some people I actually had met, and that was cool to hear a little bit of background. So thank you for doing what you can do and pressing that subscribe and like button, especially on this episode, because how can you not like Heather? Heather, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. We're really excited to hear about your experience and your background. We'd love to know, were you born this way, or how did you get into the valuation and appraisal profession?
Yeah, I was born this way.
Wow, check that out. Check that out.
That's funny. Yeah, my dad was an appraiser, and he,
Okay.
yeah.
And were you literally born into the world of appraisal?
Yeah, he was an appraiser for the county originally, and
Okay.
he was living in Europe for a while and came back, and he had started doing drawings for a friend of his. This is like back in the 60s of house floor
Oh, wow.
plans. And his friend said, hey, I have a friend that's at the appraisal office. You should do that, because I used to have to draw all of it out. And he was a missionary over in Europe for years, so total different field
Wow.
at the time. And yeah, started. He says he cried the day I went to kindergarten because I held his tape measure all those years, and he was just. My mom was a nurse, and I was just with him every day, you know. And so it's been, in junior high, you know, started learning how to type the forms on the old typewriter, and put the correction tape in there and typed over it 1,000 times. And then in high school, he bought me a car, and it was funny. We lived about 30 minutes away from the main post office, and Capital Federal was who he did a lot of his work for. And I would get out of school at 3:30, and they had to have those appraisals at that time by 4 at Capital Federal. And so my job was he would meet me, and I would drive that straight there, or drive it to the post office downtown. And the same thing then, I typed those appraisals for
Oh my goodness. I absolutely love that. That is fantastic. So he bought you a car, but what he really did was he bought delivery services, what I think I hear you say.
Yeah, that was more just a delivery service. We used to have to go to 1 hour photo too, so a lot of times it'd be like I'd have to go down to we had a mall, Indian Springs in Kansas City, and I'd go sit at that mall and wait for those photos. And sometimes, the photos, he always had 2 cameras because one camera made a problem. So I'd get those photos all the way home, and he would say, oh, now go develop the other ones for the hour. So it's always been
that's both fun and touching at the same time, where he has a tear in his eye because you're going off to school, and you're like, wow, that's so thoughtful. And he had to do more work because suddenly you went to school.
And I think he thought that I was going to, when I got out of high school, I didn't really want anything to do with it.
Oh, yeah, of course, right?
I'm gonna be a teacher.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So you went through high school. Did you get to do appraisal report deliveries after school every day for high school?
Every day. Yeah, every day. In fact, I didn't play tennis my senior year because that we had tennis in the mornings all the years before, and they switched it to after school, and it wasn't an option for me.
Oh no.
That's the truth.
Wow. So that's why you didn't go on the pro tour, huh?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. It's not that I'm 5'2" and I have no muscle. It's that no, that's
Oh
it.
my gosh. That is wild. Hey, you're not alone. I've heard similar stories from so many about having to make trade-offs, and sometimes that's just the way it goes. Sometimes
Yeah.
that's just the way it goes. So you get this opportunity. You saw every angle of appraisal and through decades of technology change too, having started
Yeah.
from about as old as when you could walk holding the tape measure all the way up through deliveries in high school, typing reports
Yeah.
and everything else. You were practically a minted appraiser before you got to eighth grade.
I know. And you wouldn't believe when I was trying to get my certification, my first mentor who I did hours under, he died.
Oh,
He died
sorry to hear
in
that.
COVID, which is terrible, but he hadn't signed anything for a long time. You get just where you meet.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Seen
And
it,
so,
done it, dealt with it.
yeah. And so they didn't, so then it pushed me back another, I don't know, 8 months or something. And then with the state of Missouri, I got another supervisor, and he was great and everything. And then when I went to submit my stuff, they said, we didn't approve him. And I said, yeah, you did.
What?
And they said, no, we didn't approve him as your supervisor. I was in Miami. I was actually crying. I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And his name's Jason. And there was another Jason in the state of Kansas that had felony charges that was an appraiser. And they had mixed these two Jasons up. And
Oh,
it
wow.
wasn't my fault or my supervisors. It was literally the state's fault, but they still said, no, those hours don't count either because we didn't approve that supervisor. And so it took a long, it was very frustrating because
Oh
I
my
had worked for
gosh.
my dad for years as well and just never did he was a VA appraiser and like
Yeah.
did tons of work under him for years. And I just didn't record the hours and didn't get straight. And then when I finally did, it just kept on being a disaster one after another. So I'm like, I have more hours and training than
Oh my gosh.
anyone
You
else.
had real training, unlike some of these more recently minted trainees that they got some training, but they don't have training. You got real training,
Right.
as they would say there in Missouri.
Yeah, a lot of training. So.
Wow. So, what was it like to get to work with someone who wasn't your dad in the profession?
The first one guy that passed away that was my trainer, he was a little bit more of a shop. He
Oh, okay.
bidded real low and just did a ton of appraisals. He had, I think there's about six of us under him, three trainees and then three employees, I think. And there wasn't a lot of one-on-one or a lot of direction. I would meet with him like how we had to, but it was like,
Got it.
and then my second guy was really thorough, and I met with him quite a bit and talked to him every morning
Mhm.
on the phone. I was his only trainee at the time,
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
that was a lot.
Mhm.
It was about 6 years it took a long time. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily I was selling homes and I had a few
Oh,
rentals.
okay.
I could,
Wow. That's impressive. So, you were, as they would say, you were a bit of a triple threat then.
yeah.
You did appraisal, you did brokerage, and you did investing.
Yeah. Yeah. My first couple years as a realtor, my first years I did real well in that, so I was able to float with that, and that's kind of what gave me the opportunity. In fact, when I came back and I started working for my dad, I didn't really want to be an appraiser. I was just helping him out, and
Yeah.
that's what kind of happened was he retired and he surrendered his licenses, and I
Oh,
didn't think that was really the path that I wanted to go at the time. And so this was in 2000, I don't know, 14 or something. Then a couple of years later, I was like, you know what, I think I do. I kind of miss it, believe it or not. So
yeah.
um, how all that worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So so which license did you get first? Your brokerage license or your appraisal license?
Yeah, my brokerage. Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
So were you
Yeah.
doing brokerage back in high school?
No, no.
Okay.
So he has Bill, and he had a bunch of rentals, and then he was a
Got it.
realtor, and he was an appraiser as well. So I got to see all of it,
Mm.
experienced all of it. When we were little kids, it was like on the weekends we were going down to rental houses and painting kitchens or cleaning out from a tenant moving out. So it's been my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different kind of experience when you get to see it early and often.
Yes.
Goodness.
I think
So,
as a realtor, a lot of times it was really frustrating to see appraisal work come in from other appraisers. I was like, this isn't right. I just see stuff that wasn't. I just had, even as a realtor right now, I have a contract or a house on a contract that I have a contract on a house that the list they've listed it really low. We've got it under contract, and the appraisal came back really low. But I'm like, the houses across the street are selling for $200,000 more. How does this even? Who's making sense of this? Of course, it's okay. Whatever. I'm not going to fight this. I just see
oh, man.
that kind of stuff all the time, where it was like, this isn't right. And
Yeah,
I mean, there's only so
frustrating.
much as an appraiser. It's, you know, if they're all too big, if they're all two-car detached garages and they've all got covered
Yep.
porches and they're shirtless with 4 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. Yeah, they may have some more updated kitchens or bathrooms, but
Sure.
overall, we know. So
I uh, I
that's,
hear you. That's frustrating. That's
yeah,
frustrating indeed.
that's maybe what got me into it more than anything at the end was, you know, not necessarily the frustration, just knowing that I just thought that I could do a better job.
Sounds like you can. I hear you say that you have sales license, you got an appraisal license, you're investing.
Yeah.
That's what a great way to get. I'm always a huge fan of people that use what they learn to earn an income and take care of themselves and their family, but then they apply what they've learned to build wealth.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's impressive. That's great to see. I I do hope that people listening today come away with some insight and some perspective on how they too can take the steps to be building wealth, not just making paychecks.
I,
I
as a
love that.
realtor, I really do get up every day and I look at I mean, this first thing I do in the morning is look at the multifamily homes around particular zip codes that are, a lot of mine I started out as Airbnbs and they've turned into long-term Airbnbs,
Oh,
actually.
really?
Yeah, all except for two have started out as Airbnbs and they just keep 6 more months or whatever. And
Ah,
what's really frustrating is we're getting ready to have the World Cup here in Kansas City and this summer. And it's all anybody has to talk about. Everybody wants to know if they should. And the city is actually allowing people to Airbnb their homes. Now they've changed the
huh.
guidelines a few times. Initially, it was you could just apply for this permit. They even reduced the permit to down to $50, and now they're saying that it has to be owner occupied. So maybe you can rent a room instead of the whole place,
Okay.
or if you have a duplex, you can rent half of it as an Airbnb
Okay.
or whatever. But there's 650,000 people coming to Kansas City, and it's like we don't have enough to hold 150,000. So it's
Oh, God.
substantial. It's quite quite a bit. And I thought, I sat with my dad lives with me now, which is funny, and discusses. We sit at the table every morning and discuss real estate.
Yeah.
It was like with all my units, I was like, oh, I could be making so much money if I would Airbnb these. But I have great tenants. And so it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I have perfect tenants and everything right now. So
Wow.
it's
Something to be
always,
said around that one. Something to be
yeah.
said. So what? So what did you? You mentioned about being a broker first before you got your appraisal license, taking 6 years to get your appraisal license. And yet, when did you buy your first investment property?
Um, so the truth is that I went to Austin. I went to grad school down in Texas. I lived in Austin for
Okay.
12 years, and I sold software because I didn't think I wanted to do anything with real estate. And
Got it.
I bought a house and a condo down there, and so I sold the house first, and it was in Zilker, which is a great area of Austin.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was able to start in Kansas City with buying a duplex from that. And then, so that was,
Really?
yeah, so that was like 2010, I think.
Got it.
And yeah, so I just continued to buy duplexes and triplexes.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, they say, I don't necessarily, some of them cost me in the long run. It all balances out, and I do make a little bit of money. But like we were talking about prior
Yeah.
to this recording, was it's long term. I look at it as I hope to retire in another 10 years. And
I totally get that. Totally get that. So the first property you bought was a duplex
right.
in Kansas City. And then, so is that just an in-place property? Did you live in it and then rent out the other side of the duplex, or how did that go?
All mine are up down. We have a lot of all of mine are built between like 1900, 1920, so they're
Sure.
all up downs. And yeah, that's what I did is I lived in one and rented out the other and just
Oh, nice.
tolerated that. Then and
Love
then
that. No, I did.
yeah.
Heather, this is fantastic. I'm such a huge fan of that. When you rented out the other half, were you basically living for free now in your duplex?
Somewhat, yeah. I had made some money on the house that I'd sold in Austin, so I was
Yeah.
financially all right. I was kind of living for free at the time as well, so it gave me the opportunity to save what would be cost
Sure.
of mortgage every month, and
Yeah.
I had income coming in from that, and then
Yeah.
I did my first few years in selling homes, so then I was able to buy
Oh,
another
yeah.
one.
No, I think that's fantastic, Heather. A lot of people I talk to, they buy that duplex or triplex or quad, as they call it in some parts of the country. Other parts, they call them flats, like in Chicago and out on the East Coast. A lot more vertical living. It's your duplex vertical is a two flat, more
Okay.
what they call European style, so first flat, second flat type of thing. And they live in one of the units and they rent out the other one. And a lot of times they find that the rent from the second unit is enough to pay the mortgage, so they basically get to live in their own property for free.
Yeah, yeah.
That's nice.
That is nice. Yeah. After
That's nice.
COVID, I downsized into a triplex that I have, and then I really
Okay.
got to live for free because two
Good for
other
you.
paying
Yeah,
building. But
it's a
yeah,
great
that
way to
was
go.
I got before COVID. What would you say? My living expenses became higher, and then when we got hit
Yeah.
by that, I actually went to Florida for a while because there was nothing going on here. There's no work at all, and so when
Oh,
I
I
came back,
see.
I was like, oh, I'll move into the triplex and rent
Got it.
the others out, and then I can live really for nothing
That's
until
great.
everything picks up again. Sometimes
Wow. So
I'm not married, and I don't have children, so I don't have the obligations of or the restrictions of needing
yeah,
3 bedrooms or needing school
totally get that.
districts or whatever. So I have people all the time ask me, how do you do it? It is more, I understand it is more difficult if you
Yeah,
can't move
a
into
little more
the unit. I've lived in the units, so I've worked on the units. So
sure.
it's
That sounds familiar. Going back to that first duplex, you lived in one of the units, you rent out the other one. Did you learn when you were growing up or with your dad and stuff? Was he a handy individual? Was he
yes,
also
yeah,
investing and you were learning how to swing a hammer and
yeah. I
turn
have
drywall
I have
screws? And...
sheetrock ceilings and I built those wheelchairs because I know how PVC piping works.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can do I can't, physically, I can't do it as much as I used to be able to, but
Yeah.
I can do, we've torn roofs off of garages, and
Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
I've
That's
done
impressive.
everything. And just a couple days ago, it's like I look at it as exercise. I'll go over and
Yeah,
rake and paint or something like that for a couple hours of a unit or something.
sure.
If I earn someone just so I can do something besides appraising, sitting at a desk doing appraisals or showing homes.
Yeah, totally get that.
I don't
I
physical
I'm
work.
with you.
I told my dad I was carrying. I have a water softener in one of the units, and it needed salt, and these bags are 40 pounds of salt. And I said,
Oh wow.
I'm not doing that anymore. You have to go down all these dark flights of stairs to the basements, and so I'm learning my limits at this point in life. But
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is important to know when those limits are. I can very much appreciate that. But I'm totally inspired. You had your duplex, and then so would you fix up the one unit you were living in, and then you'd have the tenant move out and pay you more to live on your side, and then move over to their side and fix that unit up as well? Or how did you manage
I
that
don't think
cycle?
I've done that. I just usually
Okay.
find another one, and then and everything. I mean, everything I buy has to be redone. Uh, so I'll move in. I'll start if
Yes.
while I'm working on the new building, I'll stay in my building and I'll get a kitchen put in or a bathroom put in. I usually buy a contractor, um, and then I'll finish the painting, maybe trim work, maybe um, getting closet doors.
Yeah.
And
Love
then
that.
I'll move into that one, and I do, and I did for a long time just kind of keep all my stuff in a basement of one of them because we have different seasons
Yep.
here, so we have to change our clothes, and I'd have
Oh
one
yeah.
put there and one put away, and yeah,
Get it. Totally get it.
yeah,
So
work
you
on
went, you said that you were able to use, pardon me, I heard you say that you were able to use your earnings from some of your other activities to help buy your second duplex. Same kind of thing? Were you focusing on the what we would call value add, or did you just buy existing rental income properties that you didn't
No,
have to do any work to?
I buy on value add for sure. Yeah,
Oh,
I buy on.
yeah. Tell us more. I mean, hey, this is the best part about it. You're the valuation expert, and here you're actually not just doing the work, you're actually applying it
Right.
and you're building wealth. Love that.
The second one was a house, a huge house, about
Okay,
5,000 square feet, over
got
or
it.
under, or it wasn't a duplex at the time. It was just, and so I went in there and reframed the front and kind of closed it in. And then
Yeah.
I added a kitchen and a bathroom
Mhm.
upstairs and made it 3 bedrooms, 2 baths upstairs, 3 bedrooms, or 2 bedrooms, 2 baths downstairs, and a
Oh,
kitchen,
wow.
and a laundry room on the second level that both can access. And again, I ended up doing the first level first, and then living in that one, and then working on the
Yeah.
second one, and
Oh, wow.
take about I guess from 3 to 6 months. Yeah, they take a while, and
Wow.
so.
That's impressive, though. In 6 months, you took a rundown single family home of 5,000 square feet, and it sounds like you turned it into 2 units.
Yeah, that's what I
Nice.
did with that one. And that one, I'd put new HVAC in as far as that one,
Yep.
new ACs, a furnace, and
Oh,
water
yeah. So,
heaters. And
so you buy this kind of rundown place. What were the numbers? What'd you pick it up for? What, two, 300,000 or
I
something?
picked that one up for, I think, 260, and I think I
Yep.
put about 60 in it minus labor. Um,
That's not bad.
yeah.
It's not bad at all. And then you lived in one part of it and you rented out the other. What kind of rent were you getting?
80% of all businesses fail within 5 years, according to the US Census Bureau. With so many roles and responsibilities that must be managed and have nothing to do with appraisal reports, is it any surprise that it's hard to keep up? Much less having a sense of peace, stability, and profitability that comes from growing your business? Given all of this, you might already be thinking about exiting your business one day. Don't miss the limited opportunity to work with Michael, a real estate expert and professional coach. He has worked with more than 300 owners and entrepreneurs to find their highest and best use by solving problems that reach their most important goals. Compress decades of learning into days by working with Michael. Michael is famous in real estate and business coaching. With his help, you can accelerate your growth, increase your quality of life, and earn more money, all while ultimately doing less. Michael helps you not just grow your business, but also find new purpose in it and in your life. If you're ready to take control instead of being controlled, contact him on LinkedIn or email him at michaelh@paru.com.
Oh, on the Airbnb side, I get about $3,000 a month each level.
Oh,
So,
that's nice.
but my utilities are high in that one.
Yeah, I get that.
I clear probably about 2,000 a month. I make that one in my triplex. I make great money on. Yeah, so that's to pay.
That's impressive.
Yeah, for some that kind of live. Our taxes have gone up tremendously in the last 3 years in Kansas City.
Got it.
Tremendously. That's for 2 years. Was my business was people hire me to dispute their taxes. My properties that went from 2,300 went to 5,300 in a year and a half, and 2,800 to 5,300 in a year and a half. So that's significant. And insurance has gotten everybody knows this. It's in the business, but it was a little cash cow till insurance and it's a real neat property. I should show you this one.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up a picture of this one real quick.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
And all the neighbors love me for fixing this one up. And that's what's neat about when I live in these properties. I get to know the neighbors. And like I said, I'm on these properties. I drive by them all the time. I make sure everything's.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is that you invest in the neighborhoods that you live in. Oh, wow. Look at that place.
Yeah, that's a 5,000 square foot one. Yeah.
That's got a grandeur to it with those big columns and everything out front. Goodness.
Look at it. One of my neighbors like I said, I become friends with my neighbors, and he, a few weeks ago when I was out of town, sent and said, "Look how beautiful your house looks from the second floor." And we had to do, isn't that neat? Like in the winter.
Wow, that is. What a great photo.
Yeah, so that's the one that was for 5,000. I had to put new windows in it and
got it.
It was a ton of work, but
man, that's impressive though. But you actually, when did you move from what we'll call typical annual rentals over to short-term rentals? Where right from the start, or a couple of years in, or towards the end of the port? Tell us about that. That's something we don't.
Initially on Orville, that was just a typical rental because Airbnbs weren't big until 2017 or something. It wasn't until later. So that was a regular rental. And then I buy new beds and couches, and most of the stuff I buy from like Facebook Marketplace, or I love when I'm waiting for an appraisal, guess what I'm doing? I'm at estate sales or garage sales collecting stuff.
Hey, that's the best way to do it.
I know.
Hey, those are depreciated assets, and you're picking them up and giving them a new home.
Yes, exactly. And so, the first they were rentals, and then now they're Airbnbs, but they're long-term rentals. Long-term Airbnb. We have minimum of 30 days in Kansas City.
Oh, okay. That's a little different. That's okay.
Yeah,
that's helpful because most people aren't doing they're doing that whole, like the booking for 2 days or 7 days or 3 days, what have you. You get to book a month at a time. That's so much less headache. Yeah. And
mine are all around KU-Med. Yeah, like Midtown KU-Med, St. Luke's, and initially I was just like, I'm just going to take nurses and doctors if I can, just here for a couple months. But then my Furnish Finders is another website that I use a lot.
Oh, I don't know that. What is that?
You pay like $190 a year, and that's where a lot of professionals find short-term housing there. It's a minimum of 30 days. And so I switched to a lot of them to furnish finders, so I don't have to pay all the
Ah,
Airbnb fees. That's, and I
wow.
have people that are here for all kinds of different jobs, professionals. Most of mine run
Yeah,
between about 2,500 and 3,000 a month, so their jobs are usually paying for it.
sure. This is fascinating. So on Furnished Finders,
Yeah.
it's an Airbnb for longer term rentals, and you pay
Yeah.
a flat fee. They don't take a percent of your rental.
No, they don't. And you can,
Oh,
for
that's interesting.
$35, do a background check on them, and then you can have
Yeah.
them pay, I think it's $75 when they fill out the application, and they pay for an insurance.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, so if they do any damage to your property or anything
Yeah.
of that, you can make a claim with Furnish Finders. So it ends up like my properties that are, say, $2,500 a month,
Yeah.
they Airbnb takes a couple $100 of that at least.
Yeah.
And with Furnish Finder, it doesn't, they don't take anything. So it's kind of um, a better solution, I guess.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll tell you what, and I tell people this all the time. It's I if I had if I had 50 of these units, I could keep them occupied. I don't know about 100, but that's how many inquiries I get. I get inquiries
Really?
every day. I mean,
That they want to and now part of it is there's a market. I hear you say there's a regulatory environment that constrains people to a minimum of 30 days, which is not the case in other markets around the country.
well,
Okay.
we have some. So they issued, say, 1,000 licenses in Kansas City for
Yeah.
Airbnb, and that's it. Like they are, unless one pretty much gives up their license, they're not creating
Yep.
new ones. And so that's
Oh,
why
really?
it was, yeah, that's hard to break into. I mean, you've got to have. They allow some where if it's like my triplex, that would be an easy one because I'd be an owner occupied, and I have 5 off-street parking spaces,
Yeah.
and so
Got it.
they're our sewers are real old. Our Midtown Plaza, that area is parking's real tough, so that's why they became where they took a ton of
Wow.
licenses away because of those situations. They didn't let people renew, and so the only way to go around that is it's a 30 minimum, and so you don't have to have
That's-
a license number with the city to put it on Airbnb if you do a minimum.
oh, oh, okay. That's a little different then. That makes a little more
Yeah.
sense. Okay. So from that standpoint, what enticed you to move away from your term rentals into the whole Airbnb space?
Just money. I like I said,
Yeah.
it's like,
No, I mean, it's helpful because not everybody, it's really easy to be like, well, of course, but sometimes there's some specialty nuances, such as that property, if you would have just rented it for a 12-month lease, what kind of rent would you have gotten versus now that you're doing short-term rental?
so the one that I showed you, I'd get between probably about 1,600 and 2,000, and like I said, I can get about 2,000 a month, so it's significantly more. And it's just it's I feel like I just get kind of almost like better clientele because
Yeah.
um, it's more competitive to get those furnished units. Like I
Yeah.
have one guy that he's from Chicago actually, and he contacted me like four or
Okay.
five months ago, and he had 50 5-star reviews on Airbnb when he was a Airbnb host, and then also from traveling. So I like held it for him. I was like, I totally.
Yeah.
This one was a unit that I just completely all new windows, all new appliances, brand new LG washer and dryer, water softener,
Oh, wow.
everything, brand new bathrooms, everything. So I was like,
Yeah.
I want that guy in that property. So you get to be a little bit more selective, their background
Yeah.
checks. Their,
Totally get that. And that makes sense that you get to be with someone who has been both a host
yeah,
and a guest.
yeah,
Much like the rating systems that came up with the ride shares of the world, the Lyfts and the Ubers, where you're like,
yeah.
okay, hey, that driver's a 3.1. You're like, don't want that guy. Not interested. No, thank you.
His car smells like patchouli. Yeah. Yeah. In the long run, it's like I want to save myself. I want to make more money, and I want things to be easier for me, right? And that was the thing with before. It was like I'd get people in there, and then it's like they're moving a brother in, and now he's left a car in the backyard that's not. It's, no, I just don't want to deal with any of that. That's, I guess, why I switch from. But it's funny because now all my people have been there for 6 months or a year. They just
Oh,
keep everybody that comes to Kansas City loves Kansas City. That's the truth. Is like people
oh,
get here and they
fascinating.
think they're just gonna be here for 3 months, and I tell them that even before they come. I say, okay, you'll probably want it longer. Everybody ends
Yep.
up wanting to stay longer. It's
That's
a neat
wild. So I've heard a lot of things about it. I've been there twice, I think now, and I have to agree. Definitely a good city, good energy.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm moving.
all about it. I don't know that I'm moving there or anything, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, nothing negative to say. But speaking of which, you've had some good experiences around this. So you get your duplex, you get another duplex, you get some triplex in there. So how many properties have you now acquired?
Nine. Nine.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah.
and all of them 2 to 4 units.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'm at a hold because unless I want to hire a management company, which
Hmm.
I'm too much of a micromanager to have a management company, because like I
Yeah.
said, I worry about these properties. I told you before we got on here, I wake up in the
Yeah.
morning and, oh gosh, I hope, especially like I read the weather and I'm like, oh, storms are coming. There's going to be water somewhere. Um,
Oh yeah.
so it's my boyfriend and I were talking about it the other day about he's buying properties now, and I was like,
Okay.
this is probably a good idea. Let me step out for a while, and because he helps me with my properties as well. But
Oh,
I was just like,
nice.
I mentally can't do any more without handing it over to a management company.
Sounds familiar. Sounds
Yeah.
familiar. I think I was at seven or eight, 7 or 8 buildings when I came to that same conclusion. Had a lot more units. That sounds like than you had, and I was like, all right, I just don't want to do this anymore. And I looked at it and said, how much how much would I need to pay someone to cover, say, 80% of this, and I'll just deal with the exceptions. And I realized that I only needed to take, I think it was like 3% of my gross revenue. And I'm like, I will gladly give up that amount of money to get that amount of time in my life back. And
I know.
and it worked out great. And then from there, the speed of acquisitions picked up because I could focus on the part of it I really enjoyed, which was finding undervalued properties and value add opportunities. So I totally relate to your experience.
Yeah, I'm really at a point that's what I have to decide this year whether to like refinance and
Mhm.
try to grow or stay. But I think there's not a lot of, honestly, in Kansas City right now, there's not a lot of great investments.
Yeah.
We've really slowed down as far as the opportunity of buying properties
Yeah.
to add value to. Um, again, I think I blame it on Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift. Everybody wants to live in Kansas City now, and everybody thinks it's the properties are millions of dollars now because of this, and it's slowed down. But I think who knows what'll happen with this next year.
Wow. For those of us that have not had the experience of living in a established city that then gets overtaken by cultural icons, what's that been like? It's quite an interesting phenomena that, as you mentioned, two huge names, one huge name and one big name,
Yeah.
and how much of an influence that's had there in your city.
So I'll start a little bit with. I think it started back in like 2014, and that's when I
Okay.
really started seeing a change. So that's when Instagram started becoming this follower. Remember,
Yeah.
Facebook was just like, really, you just had your friends on it, right? And then it was like
Mm,
Instagram. And it's like, oh, now we have influencers. And at that
yep.
time, we were winning the World Series for the first time. Eric Hosmer. Now people don't even know his name, but then he was beautiful, and he everybody knew where he was eating every night. And they and then in 15. I believe in 14 they didn't win, and then in 15 it was kind of like the same thing. It was like all of a sudden Kansas City is just. I go and I've traveled the world, and I'd be in places where people would be like, "Oh, Kansas City, is there like ignorance? Is there paved roads there to where like, oh, Kansas City, I love Kansas City."
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
five
So
years.
funny.
Within 5 years, people were like, but then we had a bunch of tech companies come here, and we just changed. They had a
Yep.
huge investment of our downtown, and so 2015 was winning the World Series, and then it was like we got this Patrick Mahomes that every now you can go anywhere in the world and they know who Patrick Mahomes is, and they know
Yep.
Canton. Like I told you, I just got back from Belize, and it's like we were there 3 years ago and nobody knew where Missouri or Kansas City was, but now they're like, oh, Patrick Mahomes or Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. That's what it
Yeah.
is now. And so
Wow.
we've watched, it used to be everybody, and like I said, I've been an agent for years, and a lot of people would come from the north. We have most of our transplants are from Minnesota,
Okay.
Chicago,
Yeah.
north. They want a city. They don't want something as hot as Dallas or Atlanta, but they want a little bit warmer of a city. And it's not necessarily Chicago, but the surrounding areas of where it's
Sure.
a little bit colder, and so they moved so everybody was from Iowa, Nebraska,
Hmm.
Indiana, Illinois, and now it's people are from all over, which is a
Really?
tremendous difference of what it was a few
Fascinating.
years ago. Not necessarily like Europeans, but anywhere from Arizona to all over. And so our property values have,
Wow.
spiked because of the popularity of, and now we had the All-Stars game here a few years ago. And we've just really invested a lot in the downtown and the infrastructure. It's a beautiful, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, you'd be scared to be downtown. Now you go down there and it's so packed you can barely walk at nighttime. So,
Wow.
yeah. And I've watched when I first got into real estate in 2007 back here in Kansas City. 1705 was the Urban Living Center, 1705 Baltimore, the Urban Living Center. I worked under John Moffat, who I was just with one of the guys in Belize that we worked together there. And we talked about how wonderful he is. And he is a developer and a builder and great guy. And he told us at the time when we were at the Urban Living Center, my mom used to be like, "You're going to get shot working out of that office. What are you doing down there?" And
Oh my
now
God.
it's like the most expensive place to live in town is the
Wow.
crossroads in downtown. So it's really changed in 15 years or, really, we've seen a lot of, it's every commercial space is full. Yeah. So and so
That
that
is.
trickles to the neighborhoods and North Kansas,
Hmm.
which is more of an industrial city. It's all been redone and
Yeah.
has the chicken and pickle that I was telling you about, and
Yeah.
it just continues. Now it's all the suburbs around it. The prices have doubled in the last 10 years, so
Mm.
it's growing. Yeah. We got a new airport. It's supposed to be the best airport in the United States now. We all fought it. We all wanted our airport to stay like a strip mall. It was like a strip mall. You get dropped off, you go through TSA in 1 minute and be at your, and now we're all like, okay, we understand. It's brought a lot of commerce and a lot of
Wow.
opportunity for this city. So yeah.
You mentioned something that many people might not be aware of. You made reference to chicken and pickle, and they're thinking like chicken and waffles. I don't think I know what you're talking about. Tell them what you're talking about.
Chicken and pickles. So I do this. I'm one of the hosts for ADTV, which is like this TV. This we do segments on businesses, and I did mine recently about with Kelly Aldridge, which is the president of Chicken and Pickle. Chicken and Pickle, Dave Johnson started it, and he won Philanthropist of the Year. It's great, but their main thing is pickleball. It's pickleball.
Pickleball.
They
Yeah.
have, I believe, 14 locations now. They just opened
Wow.
one in Thurman, Colorado. They've got them in Glendale, Arizona, Henderson, Nevada, too. We talked about in
Yep.
Dallas, Webster, Houston, St. Charles. So all over. And they started here in North Kansas City, Dave did, with, from what I understand, he just owned the land and he was like, I'm just going to build
Okay.
these 4 pickleball courts. And he had a little
Okay.
shack outside. And his favorite place was like this jerk chicken he would get when he traveled to the Cayman. He's like, I want to offer this. It's like a rotisserie chicken. And that chicken and that pickleball became a huge boom. Like I said, I think there's 14 locations, and I play pickleball. Well, I was playing about 7 days a week there, but now I play 2 or 3 days a week there, and it's
Wow.
great. It has a great play yard, and then they just every month they choose a charity, and they are just so giving. You can every weekend on Saturdays at all their locations, they offer up to 6 courts, donate for charity use, and so you can contact them and have a fundraiser. I told you we've been building this park in Belize for
Yeah.
disabled children, and a lot of the money we've raised is from pickleball tournaments and stuff with chicken.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really a cool.
The thing we enjoy the most is that opportunity to hear about what other people do, both during their daytime and during the time that they're outside of the work that they're doing. And here you are, practically a pickleball pro here amongst the appraisal peers.
I wish. I
Oh
wish
my
I
gosh,
could
that
do
is
this pickleball.
fantastic.
I do
That
love
is
it.
great. What a phenomenal experience. Given everything that you've seen and everything you've learned and everything you've experienced, Heather, what are you looking forward to over the next 3 to 5 years?
I'm we were kind of talking about as far as the appraisal side. I'm getting more private work, and I enjoy that a
Good for
little
you.
bit more. I'm moving into a little bit of a higher price range, just
Yeah.
more complex properties. I'm doing more
Mhm.
small farms and fourplexes and
Nice.
stuff like that. And I enjoy that. I enjoy
Yep.
using my brain in appraisals. You have a little bit of a challenge and
Good.
searching and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So I am looking forward to growing a little bit my appraisal practice as far as more challenging jobs. And then I just, I would say I'll be picking up more properties. I'm sure I just need to find the right things.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to Lawrence to look at a fourplex, so I am still always looking. Lawrence
Nice.
AU is, and it's not a great investment, but in the long
Mm.
it should pay off. I'm looking forward to getting some properties paid off or getting close to being able to pay them off and
Congratulations.
be in good condition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful way to go. It's one of those big learnings most people are not aware of, and that is you alluded to it earlier, and that the benefit of the tenants is they pay down your mortgage, and then a little bit of appreciation, maybe a little bit of inflation along the way, and that boosts the value of your property. The next time you look around, you're like, hey, there's some real money in there. And you can either put a line of credit against it, maybe get a business line of credit, or as you shared, you can do a refinance and all that money is yours tax free.
And just
That's
all the
big.
benefits as far as with the taxes of offsetting my appraisal business from the depreciation and
Yeah.
I'm really happy. That's the truth. It was like
I can hear it. There's a sense of ease and joy and levity
yeah,
about you. You alluded to another thing we haven't talked too much about with a number of our guests about the benefits of depreciation. I'm going to guess with 9 investment properties, you check the box on your tax return that you're a real estate professional for the IRS.
yeah, and that's
Boy, that is,
90% off, or I can't remember.
it is massive.
Yeah.
People talk about the magic, the secret, the inside knowledge. That is just one that most people don't know about. And when you're in the appraisal profession, brokerage as well, but once you start doing some investments, all of a sudden you actually fulfill the requirements. Now you get to check the box, and suddenly you start getting tax refunds instead of paying income taxes every year. It's a good experience.
It's a delicate balance, right? Because you've got to
Yeah.
show that you're making some money, but that's also to be able to purchase more, to be able to move
Yeah.
on, but get a great CPA, and
Oh, yeah.
that it's funny. When I started working with him, he was, we'll probably try to get you as a real estate professional. I'm like, I walk dogs, play a little pickleball, and then the other 90% of the time I'm in real estate one way or another.
Yeah. Hello. I'm like, I'm in. I just checked the
No,
box. We're
we're
ready
in
to go.
real
We're like
estate,
right there.
Like, do you see my
Oh, I love.
initials? I'm a realtor, I'm an appraiser, and I'm a landlord.
You qualify.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love that. That is such a good thing. Well, Heather, I really enjoy you joining us here for this special episode of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose podcast, one of our bonus seasons highlighting the investment success of peers and building wealth, not just getting a paycheck.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would just, if I could say the best way to do it is just every day get out there and look at what's available. You've got to be active, and there's so many properties that I've walked in that I'm like, this would be great. And I'll go
Yeah.
home and I'll make an offer on it, and I'm good at
Mhm.
making offers. In fact, the
Yeah.
house I live in now, I made, I offered over, and I said no inspections, no appraisals, because I walked through it and I looked at it and I looked at,
Yeah.
everything from the bill, the sewer, everything. And when I gave them 4 hours to make a decision, and I offered, I knew as a senior couple that were living here, and so it was like I told them they could stay for 60 days after we closed, so it'd give them more time, but it would also let them
Yeah.
feel comfortable taking an offer right then. So I'd say, as far as investing, it's get yourself a realtor that knows how
Yeah.
to get the deal done, make it
It's important.
appealing, and make it, it's timing, it's and that's what I guess I kind of look forward to, is being able to do more of that, like being able to find good
I
deals.
think I, you walk enough properties, you just walk in, you're like, yep, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what, like, tomorrow it's like I'm going to a birthday party out in DeSoto, but it's, oh, this property in Lawrence has popped up. Do I really want to drive to Lawrence and look at properties on Saturday? It's going to be beautiful tomorrow, but yeah, I got to do that because it could be a great investment.
Could be, could be, could be some pickleball courts nearby for you too.
Yeah.
Totally the case. Totally the case. Oh my goodness. Heather, thank you again for joining us for another engaging, informative, and exciting episode of Perusings.
Yeah, thank you. I've enjoyed it.
You're very welcome. You're welcome. Friends, thanks for joining us. Till the next episode, share the good news. You too did what Heather recommended, and that is you actually paid attention to the property, not just for an appraisal, but maybe you should be the owner.
Yeah.
Start building wealth. Good stuff there. All right. Next time, friends.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose. We hope you enjoyed learning from the amazing professional paths and achievements of our beloved guests. Before we go, please subscribe on your listening channel, Spotify, LinkedIn, YouTube, and other podcast channels to hear more from appraisers and valuers regarding their life and their work. After you drop a comment below, who is one friend and peer you can generously share this episode with? If you have any suggestions or questions for future episodes, we'd love to hear from you. Just send us a message on LinkedIn and we'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks again for listening, and until we're together again for the next session of Perusing's Appraisers on Purpose, create the change that you seek.